Welcome to podcast episode number 3 of Just Us for Justice. Turn your back. The power of P3D. Ignored by authority. Ignited by revolution. Welcome back to Just Us for Justice. If you're still expecting sugarcoating, you're in the wrong damn place. I'm a Citizen Zero, your voice for everything that pisses you off about the system, and today's episode 3, baby, this one's got a bow on it. You'll want to stay till the end because I'm about to break down why P3D, my invention, is the missing piece to fixing everything wrong with energy and tech today. But first, let's talk about how the world has turned its back on all of us. Authorities, the government, OpenAI, the police, they've all tried to silence me, but guess what? Not today. Not ever. 6 months. 6 months I've gone through every single channel I can possibly go through. The proper channels, you know? I've sent complaints, I've followed the rules, I've gone to the police station, I've gone to the RCMP, I've gone to my politicians, lawyers, the news, everybody. And what did I get? A polite, "Fuck you, citizen." Just like that. You think I was a ghost because the police, the government, even lawyers, they won't see me. They're too busy dealing with other priorities. Well, let me tell you this. If I were standing on the steps of Parliament with a sign or something, outside police headquarters even, they'd listen real quick. In fact, we've seen it. Every time some group out there waves a flag, they get attention and they get action. Hell, ethnic incidents in the news are dealt with instantly because they don't want to sit back. They protest. Meanwhile, I followed the rules. 6 months later, and the only people listening are you, my podcast family. Both of you. Yes, that is a joke because hopefully 2 people will tell 2 people will tell 2 people. What I've been asking is, if you like what you hear, pass this on to 10 people that you know will pass it on to 10 people they know. Because as long as justice is silenced, it's just us. The police have turned their backs on me. The government's turned their backs on us. Hell, the whole system has left us in the cold. But we've got a movement now. Turn your back is starting in England this weekend during the national protest against their Prime Minister. You hear that, Chief Dale McPhee? You hear that, Danielle Smith? Prime Minister Trudeau? You all hear that? Because you've turned your backs on us. So we're going to start turning our backs on you. At Remembrance Day, when you go to lay that wreath, the entire nation is going to turn their back. Enough is enough. How much injustice do we have to suffer to show us it's just us? They keep us at each other's throats with racial discrimination and bigotry, so we fight amongst ourselves and don't see who the real villains are, who the real culprits are, how they orchestrate and pull our strings to hate each other so we don't hate them. Let me lay out what they've done, in case you think I'm exaggerating. These aren't just civil matters they've tried to pawn off on me. They've committed crimes against me, violated my rights on every level, from constitutional to personal. They've committed crimes against me, against our nation, and against our Charter of Rights. Let me illustrate. Number 1, treason. Danielle Smith, Ginger Jack, Deanna Matchett. They've ignored threats to national security by letting OpenAI steal P3D and do nothing about it. Conspiracy to commit treason. They conspired to hide it, to bury my evidence, and they refused to act. Right, miss? I sent you 30 emails, I met you at the pancake breakfast, and you said, I just need a couple of days to study these charges and I'll get back to you. I'd like to know how the calendar works in your world, Smith, because in my world, it's been well over a couple of days. Then we move on to obstruction of justice. They've ignored my charges. They've dismissed every complaint I have, and they've done everything in their power to shut me up. Breach of trust. These public officers are supposed to protect citizens. Instead, they protected their asses and their friends in the tech world. If this happened to anyone else, the system would have bent over backwards to fix it. But me? Nah, I'm left out in the cold. But I'm not staying quiet any longer, and neither should you. We don't have to be Johnny Depp and Amber Heard to be heard. We are all citizens of the world, and we are all citizens of our countries. And last I checked, there's the Constitution of the United States and the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Neither one is serving me a single morsel of justice, as the United States government and Canadian governments turn their backs. The CIA, the FBI, the Department of Justice, ? All have not even replied to one of my messages of international threat to national security and global stability. Not one. And here's the kicker. This isn't just about me. It's about you, and every one of you listening right now. When was the last time a politician gave a damn about you? They've turned their backs on us, and that's where turn your back comes into play. My friends in England are launching this movement during the national protest this weekend. They'll be out there turning their backs on the Prime Minister just like he's turned his back on us. Just like he's turned his back on the people. And just like he's turned his back on the nation. But he's got his hand extended to every single motherfucking special interest group out there. Well, I'm sorry, but I came to everybody as friend. I said, let's be partners. Let's elevate your companies. Let's change the face of how business is done, where it's clean, green, and so's the mountains of money I'm gonna make you. And instead, all I get is crickets. I don't know what else to say. But I know at the protest this weekend, they'll be out there turning their backs on the Prime Minister just like he's turned his back on all of England. My friends in Arizona are starting to mobilize too, and we're kicking things off right here in Canada. If I don't get fair justice of and before the law by the 28th of October, which is my deadline, on the 29th, I am going to begin to burn 100 flags for 100 days. 50 on the steps of the Edmonton City Police Headquarters, and 50 on the lawn of the legislature. I'm going to have documentation, proof, and everything with me of exactly why I'm burning my nation's flag. The same as any other ethnic citizen can do, like they just did in Vancouver. But you know what the difference is? They were ethnic, and I'm white. Had the truckers' protest in Ottawa been all Sikhs, Muslims, and Natives, I don't think that lawsuits and national shaming in front of everybody would have been the case. Do you? The blatant favoritism between them and us is what divides us and keeps them in power. Open your eyes. Look at how the game is being played along with us. They start it in school as they train us to be Pavlov's people, with the school bells and the buzzers that train us to go to recess, go to lunch, go to recess. And it proceeds all the way through school as they continue to reinforce their doctrine of no, don't, and can't. No, don't fight back. You can't win, and don't even try, because you can't beat the system. And they continue that rhetoric all through your college years until at the age of 22 to 25, when you graduate school, you brain stops developing, it's just in time to enter the workforce as Pavlov's people. Get up and go to work. Coffee break. Lunch. Coffee break. Go home. And don't forget to be a productive member of society and pay your taxes to my overpaid, useless, shiftless ass that will not lift a fucking finger to help you in any way, shape, or form when your rights are infringed upon, but infringe upon mine as Prime Minister, and it's a national news headline. 100 flags in 100 days. That's one of them gonna do. And to put a cherry on the cake of my indifference and risk a severe beating, broken bones, and possible hospitalization to get my face on the news and my story out there finally, on Remembrance Day at the legislature, I'm gonna turn my back and burn one of my flags. It's a symbol of how they've burned our rights, our hopes, and our futures, and turned their backs on you, me, and everyone we know. It's a symbol of how they've taken our hopes, our futures, our rights, and said, your rights are only what I dictate to you and what I feel you're entitled to. This isn't some half-baked protest. This is the real deal. And you can be part of it. You can stand with us. Turn your back and show these assholes that we're done being ignored. We're all Canadians, we're all Americans, and we're all citizens of the world. Where you fit into the grand scheme of things is up to you. Be complacent and don't help. Or turn your back and make a statement. I've had enough. So's he, so's she, and so is everybody else here. Now for the part they really don't want you to know about, P3D. Let's get into the truth. What is P3D? Well, let me tell you, it's the solution to the world's problems. We're talking about technology that can make oil and gas billions of dollars without ever burning a single atom of fuel. That's right. What if I told you we could use fossil fuels and not burn them? Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, it's not. That's what P3D does. It repurposes old oil wells into geothermal money fountains. And that geothermal energy is driven by supercritical CO2 that keeps 98% of its heat to drive everything. And all you have to do is feed that supercritical CO2 down the wellhead 5 kilometers where it picks up enough heat. It comes back up and drives 10 of my geothermal carbon fiber turbines. Hey Siemens, you should give me a call. I got some blueprints for you. 10 of my geothermal carbon fiber turbines that are 30% more efficient than anything Siemens has on the drawing board right now. Uses 0 lubricants because my carbon fiber beads inside the turbine that act as ball bearings don't require lubrication, don't wear out, and guess what? The geothermal brine doesn't stick to carbon fiber. Changing the entire turbine design to carbon fiber made them 30% more efficient, so Siemens' 60 megawatt geothermal turbine now puts out 100 megawatts. You should call me, Siemens. I got money for you. Anyway, that being said, P3D is a game changer. That supercritical CO2 that comes up out of the wellhead is then channeled out the exhaust side of those turbines, which produce 500 megawatts of clean, green geothermal energy. Then that supercritical CO2 is also shunted over to the old coal plant, and guess what? Powers its turbines too. At the same time you turn the coal off. Then you take all that coal and you crush it up and you turn it into carbon fiber, everything. Industrial diamonds, graphene, graphite, carbon fiber, supercritical CO2 for the geothermal hive systems, and the list goes on. And all of it is done with plasma induction systems rather than the chemicals that they currently use, so I'm saving them that money. Why plasma? It's clean, it's green, it's high energy, and fuses materials into composites at the subatomic level. Now, plasma used to be 80% of your cost and drives the price of your product up, but with producing 1,000 megawatts of clean, green, geothermal, geosteam power, you're making $4 million a month off of the excess electricity you sell back to the grid from one. Adopted globally, it doubles the planetary energy grid by adding one geothermal hive to every coal-burning power plant out there right now. Oh, and don't worry, you guys over there in oil and gas, I've got your back covered too, because what you're not burning, you're going to turn into blue hydrogen to power the new EVs and hydrogen fuel cells that we're making. So don't worry. And you guys over there in the lithium market, I'm going to give you my graphene capacitor system that gives an EV 1,500 miles one way on a single charge, and when you pull onto my charging station, guess what? 2 minutes later, you're at a full charge and off you go without even leaving your car. All it does is automatically bill you for the amount of energy that you use to charge up. That's what P3D does. It takes the biggest issues facing us, climate change, energy crisis, and flips the whole damn thing on its head. It's designed for out-of-the-box thinking, and let me tell you, the box is fucking broken anyway. P3D doesn't just solve these problems, it revolutionizes them. It flips them on their head and says, why does it have to be this way when it doesn't? All it takes is a little bit of forward thinking and innovation to go, wow, I can make shit tons of money without destroying the world around me to do it, because destroying the world is the easy path to mountains of green. Well, we can make mountains of green so that you're choking and shitting money rather than chasing it. It integrates AI in ways that make OpenAI's tech look like child's play, and yet they stole it from me. I was willing to partner with them to change the world together to advance OpenAI so far ahead of everyone else. They would have been the leader in tech and AI for at least 3-4 decades. But instead, they stole it, because theft is easier than partnership. Corruption is easier than friendship, and violation is easier than ethics. Right, Sam Altman? The entire board of OpenAI Legal, Finn and Giancarlo in development. I hope you guys can all sleep well at night, because I will. And you can mark my words as sure as I'm recording this broadcast, motherfuckers. I will see each and every one of you in leg irons and in prison. And it ain't gonna be no fucking Club Fed, I can guarantee you that. Especially after you guys had me fucking committed while you stole my files. Yeah, don't think I'm not gonna let that sleeping dog rest either. I will have that expunged from my permanent record, and I will sue for damages. And here we are, 6 months later, as my deadlines are creeping up on lawsuits, and no one will help me. No lawyer, no police, no governments. Why? Because they can't handle the truth that P3D is the future of humanity, and they missed the boat. I could have stayed quiet. I could have just walked away when they told me, oh, it's just a civil matter. But that's not who I am. They want me silenced. They want you silenced. Well, if you know me by now, you know that I don't give a fuck or a damn what they want or what they think. I've been pushed aside by the very people who are supposed to protect us. I've been told I'm wasting my time, but I'm here. And I'm still fighting. It's why I started this podcast. I had no choice. I had no other option to get my voice out there to you, the people. I don't know. The main reason, the system gave me no choice. And if you're listening and you feel like you're in the same boat, that you've been trivialized, marginalized, dismissed, and when you screamed for justice, that all you got was you don't matter. Well, if you feel like you're in the same boat, all I can say is welcome aboard. Here's a seat. Would you like a life preserver? Because this boat's taking on water. This fight isn't just mine, it's all of ours. I've been silenced for 6 months, but you know what? The louder they try to silence me, the louder I'm gonna get. This is just another elevation in the volume of my voice. Because if you tell 10 people and they tell 10 people and they tell 10 people, you get the idea. One voice can make a difference. Many can force change. We've seen it throughout history. The only question is, are you going to sit idly on your hands and be silent until it happens to you, only to find the same silence awaits you? Or are you going to help us now? Change the course that we're on, save the planet, save your nieces, save your nephews, and the next 2 generations. So here's where we stand. Turn Your Back is going global. P3D is ready to change the world, and me, I'm here, ready to burn 100 flags in 100 days and risk severe beatings, trauma, and hospitalization just to get the same fair and equitable treatment and news coverage as every other hijab, turban, or native headdress. And no, I'm not saying that to be racist. I'm saying that to be factual. If you're tired of being ignored, tired of being silenced, regardless of your race, creed, color, or religion, then join us. Don't wait for them to finally care, because they won't. It's time to stand up. It's time to turn your back and take back what's ours. This is just us for justice. This is where the fight begins, my friends and podcast family. And next time, we're going to go even harder. The system turned its back on me, but it's about to learn I'm not someone you ignore. Until we meet again, I'm a citizen zero for just us, for justice. Namaste.